This video will be introducing doubling PSPs, and it's something that I've been using for some time now, and I've decided to finally share it with everyone. So by now you should know what a precision swing point is. So what is a doubling precision swing point? Is a precision swing point that makes up 2/4 of a cycle, and it can determine the direction of the next 2/4. So this could be Q1 and Q2, and it can determine the direction of Q3 and Q4, or it could be Q3 and Q4 and determine the direction of Q1 and Q2 of the next cycle. The cycle timeframe alignment for the 90-minute cycle will be using a 3-hour doubling PSP, the daily cycle a 12-hour doubling PSP, the weekly cycle a 2-day doubling PSP, the monthly cycle a 2-week doubling PSP, and the yearly cycle a 6-month doubling PSP. So here is an example of a 3-hour doubling PSP on the 90-minute cycle, and I'm using New York AM as the example here, as you can see by the times. The 3-hour candle is a precision swing point making up Q1 and Q2, which you can see on the right. We can pair this with sequential SMT, so in this example between Q2 and Q3, as additional confirmation. And you can see how this would look on the higher time frame on the right hand side. This then determines the direction of Q3 and Q4. So this can typically be used when trading 9 to 10:30, which is the high probability time window that we focus on. So a 3-hour doubling PSP from 6 to 9 AM is something to take note of. Here is a chart example of a 3-hour doubling PSP, and you can see how there is a lower time frame SMT as well. On a lower time frame, it would look like this, where we have an expansion after the 3-hour doubling PSP closes at 9 AM. Here is a 12-hour doubling PSP covering Asia and London, and you can see how it is determined the direction of New York AM, which is the session that we focus on. And this can be paired with a daily cycle sequential SMT. So as you can see on the right hand side, that is what it would look like on the higher time frame, leading to a New York AM expansion. However, it is more rare to see a 12-hour doubling PSP. This is a chart example. We had a 12-hour doubling PSP and then an expansion in the next 2 quarters, New York AM and New York PM. And you can see here on the lower time frame, this expansion after the 12-hour doubling PSP closed. We can also look for a fractal PSP within the doubling PSP. This is the time frame alignment for a doubling and fractal PSP. So for a 3-hour doubling PSP, we can look for a 90-minute fractal PSP within it. The 12-hour PSP, a 6-hour fractal PSP. The 2-day doubling PSP, a daily PSP. The 2-week PSP, a 1-week PSP. And then a 6-month PSP, we can look for a 3-month fractal PSP. But when will it not work? Like everything, it will not work if you blindly apply it. You cannot be a pattern trader, which is where the majority of people fail. The narrative of price will always come first, and it must align with the narrative. Therefore, if you see a bearish doubling PSP in a bullish narrative, it will not work. Similar to SMT, a bullish SMT within a bearish narrative will not hold. and will act as SMT market structure shift. So as usual, study this for yourself before applying it blindly.